All right, today is a time subject. The transition of the entire planet, of us as individuals. Like, when's this going to happen? And how does it happen? I'm going to explain this, and you can relax. Nothing's going to happen without you. I'm going to explain in detail exactly how this works. The transition of the planet, the great awakening of you. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. All anxiety and pain comes from fear. Ready to let it go? Free stuff here, help you work on it. Today we're going to talk about when is the Great Awakening. So someone, and this is prompted by somebody who actually left a sort of nasty comment, but I thought it was a valid one. It started out nicely with, hey, I saw your earlier videos and you were talking about the same stuff, 5 years ago. The shift, when's it going to happen? Okay, let's talk about that. Christ spent his entire lifetime talking about it. Buddha spent his entire lifetime talking about it. Now let's talk about prophets and people like Buddha, Eckhart Tolle. And this is a prime example, and this applies directly to you. Our free will allows us to choose our adventure and what we're going to do with that. All right? When we decide that we're going to, break through those veils and start to connect to our all-powerful self that's right here. It's not out there. And there's nothing separate from you. But when you understand that, you go into a different state of being, wherein all your thoughts, beliefs, actions revolve around service to other and an abundance and powers that you can't imagine, because you will be responsible enough to handle those powers. And that's why breaking through the veils connects you to that which you hold right now, that you will use in a, let's just say, enlightened way. Now, these prophets and teachers, and there's many, many of them through the thousands of years, have been saying the same thing, but we have been evolving. Spiritually, we have been. It doesn't seem like it. But if you start to look at where we're going specifically now, you can back it up and reverse engineer this to decades, all right? Now I'm going to explain something to you. What we heard about with other teachers and all kinds of prophets, and there's all kinds of cool stuff out there. Joseph Murphy and just Ernest Holmes, Eckhart Tolle is a much more recent one, amazing person. The story that you hear about them is that they went into enlightenment. They went into enlightenment, and we heard and were very focused on going into enlightenment and recognizing our power. All right, so if you look years back, people like Esther Hicks, if you're into that, to each his own. We're not here to criticize the different teachers, but Esther Hicks really paved the way. Esther Hicks has been doing it for over 30 years. Teaching people how to deal with those thoughts and switching over. This is not new stuff. None of us are teaching anything new. We just give a different spin, or we deliver it differently. And therefore, diversity allows you to pick and choose who you connect with, and you might find yourself switching teachers as you evolve. But that whole transition that we've been going through was to go into that space of enlightenment. What's happening now is that enlightenment that's been happening, the Great Awakening, where it's starting to snowball and more of us are understanding it. The traumas and challenges of the planet have pushed us to that, right? Dark night of the soul. Eckhart Tolle had one. So many of these prophets have gone into the deepest, darkest depths in order to let go of the ego, which took them into enlightenment. All right? Most of them lifetime of this. So when you go into that space, you go into the higher frequency, which then requires the material world, the density of what we're in, to adjust to that. That's the phase we're going through now, and this has been going on for years, way beyond when I first started this channel. My super awakened state, and I've gone through different levels of it, my super awakened state was easily, I'd say 15, almost 20 years ago. All right? I mean, we're talking going into an insanely super awakened state where, I mean, you're not even a person, you're not even in your body. And manifesting is insane. Somebody asked me, if obviously as a teacher, if you teach this, you've done it yourself, and there's just dozens and dozens and dozens of examples I can give you of off the charts impossible things that I've manifested, because nothing's impossible. If it's a probability, you can shift into it. The only thing between you and that is your thoughts, because you're the creator. If you saw my 3 seconds to manifest anything, it was popular because I simplified it. It's just your thought, and as soon as you switch over, you start to change your whatever you're manifesting. So this has been happening for years. If you follow Dolores Cannon, boy, she really was paved the way. She did that for 45 years, probably close to 50 before she passed away. And so she's been teaching it, and she changed and started to think differently too later in her career. This is not an overnight flash. The only way that can happen is if we go into that space as a collective. So it's like we're waiting for people, right? So you're sitting there to wait, you're in the car and you're like, okay, we're waiting for everybody, we're not going to take off, this bus isn't leaving till everybody gets here, and that's pretty much what's happening. Now when I say that, I'm talking about the transition of the planet, not you as an individual. A lot of people are just leaving. They've done their job, and then they're going on to their next adventure. So you're going to see a lot of people dying. And so we saw that with our health challenge. A lot of people just decided it was time to get off because it actually helped the collective to now go into a higher frequency. So a lot of people removed themselves, all right? So I want you to understand that we're all waiting for the big event. And if you saw my videos, the big event is an accumulation of different things that are happening that are taking us further and further into change, which actually just transforms the way we live. And it's not 1 minute or 1 day. It is the tipping point, and you're going to see entire communities function completely different. But what's going to happen is that change that's so uncomfortable for most people. It's going to happen so naturally, and it's going to feel so good and so right, and people are quitting jobs. You guys have seen this. This is why I promote this. They're quitting jobs. They don't even know what they're going to. They just know they have to get out of what they're in. Somebody said, Landria, you said that there's no shortages. We have shortages. I had to wait 6 months for my car. That's not a shortage. That's low production. When you can't get a car, that's a shortage. My point is, of course, there's going to be shortages, but those are self-imposed. We have abundance on this planet. There's no lack on the planet. That's self-imposed by our systems that don't operate efficiently, which creates those shortages. And we're so spoiled, we don't understand that having things overnight isn't normal. I waited a year for my car. Almost 30 years ago, I remember I had a brand new BMW Z3. I had to wait a year for it. Nobody called it a shortage. It was a low production item, and I had to wait for it. No, we didn't think about that. So we have to shift out of this instant society of me ordering stuff and having it show up. And if that doesn't happen, we call it shortages. If the grocery stores aren't loaded, we call it shortages. Yet there's more food being thrown away still. Tons of food every day. When we shift into efficiency, abundance, we stop living like people who want everything because the material world they believe is going to make them happy. When we shift out of that, we no longer need that world. And so we go into real joy, real euphoria, joy you've never experienced, a connection with nature and others, and we are in harmony. And there's no threat, there's no enemy, there's no separation, there's no judgment anymore. There are just things that we work on together. And so there's going to be different degrees of that. So I want you to know this has been happening. So my DNA activation, if that's what you want to call it, when I went through those symptoms, was 10 years ago, going on 10 years ago. And I shifted my life completely, everything that I did. And I did have somebody visit me and have a little talk with me over on the other side, and it was pretty powerful, in a very amazing, beautiful place, by the way, where a lot of people are hanging out, the energy field. So when you leave here, there's something amazing waiting for you. Don't miss this experience, because whatever you learn here, you take with you. There's no like, oh, I'm out of here, I'm going to go into whatever. No, nothing ever ends. It's all connected. So when you transition over to that other side, and you go past all the veils, you realize, wow, I had an amazing opportunity. I was here with the team to transition this planet and take us all to this a really amazing higher frequency, because we're here to experience things, to know what we are. And when you go over there, you recognize what you are, because then you get to see the pain and the self-imposed struggle that we create here, and you don't have to live that. So if you watch my videos, I teach everyone, that's my focus, how to break through fear. You're on a planet of pain and fear. Break through it. You'll experience it. You just won't react to it anymore. It doesn't have an effect on you anymore. You become an observer. And all those things that you do that happen to you, you've created. Because you cannot experience struggle unless you're battling something or you have a story that says things shouldn't be this way. So you've created the story, and then there's the struggle, there's the pain that starts again. Why? Because you don't want to accept what's happening. You don't see the value in it, and therefore you live a life of pain. And when you let go, you realize you don't have to struggle anymore, and that when you just allow yourself, and you have to take the action to go into that space, that you're going to continue to evolve, and there's no time limit on it. It's not, when's it going to happen? You've been saying it for years, because it's been happening for years, and we are now at a point where the physical bodies are now changing, and the planet is physically changing. That's why you're seeing all these things happen. To adjust to the higher frequency of the Great Awakening is causing the physical world now to change. And that wasn't happening before, because we weren't there yet. So physical body has to change, because our true essence is on such a high frequency that now it's changing how we eat, everything, all the things that we do. And so then, therefore, the planet itself, because we're conscious about what we do, we're changing how we're treating the planet. The planet's going to go into a higher frequency because we're not abusing her as much. It's all going to a high frequency. This is powerful stuff. I mean, this is really cool stuff. So the physical world you're going to see right now is what's changing, and it's all good. You cannot go into that higher frequency of transformation without allowing all of these destructive things to dissolve. You got to wait 6 months for a car, really? It's not shortage of any kind. Low production. Why? Because people just don't want to do that stuff anymore. And everybody's stepping back from that world. And you can too, but be the creator of the new one. So you guys have seen this. I have a new business coming out that's, I think, going to knock your socks off. I take our spirituality and I help people to create spiritually conscious businesses online. So it allows you to travel, it allows you to focus on those things that will help create these communities. Your products are going to be planetary friendly. You're going to feel really good about what you do. You get to earn money doing it. You still have to pay your bills. If anybody has a problem with that, tell them to talk to the hand. Shut your pie hole. All right, I hope this was helpful and that it helps you to understand the transition that we're going through. We are in the physical transition right now. It's really pretty cool. So enjoy it. Keep going and say, what can I do here? What can I be? And how do I change my own life? You guys, these are free. And so, but of course I have I do have some paid programs if you want to go into those. If you don't, I've got free stuff here, including a free mobile app that helps you to stay in check. And if you go down the description, you can find stuff in there. But please subscribe. I'm getting this right. Please subscribe and share these and let people know that we're doing it. And they can join us, and it's not painful. And it's going to allow them to sleep at night and feel really good about who they are and what they're contributing. And the rewards will be astronomical. And they will include the material world. Abundance, things will flow to you in all the right places. What a beautiful way to live life. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.